So, thank you and welcome everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic day. 1.5 days to go at the Singapore Fintech Festival. I have to say it is absolutely incredible. How many people, how many friends are over, and yeah, really excited to see what's next for us this afternoon and tomorrow. Right, so I've got a really interesting panel, and it's been amazing to see actually how much history there is between this gentleman here. We were just backstage talking about who knows who where in Africa, in the US, in Europe, so I think they're going to be continuing this discussion. Just to introduce you a little bit who's in our panel, and we're going to be talking and going hopefully deep enough into embedded insurance. So first of all, we have Andrew Yale from Income. Rob Schimek from bolttech, and we have Altin from Prudential, and Varun Mittal from Singlife. So if we start with embedded insurance and giving the opportunity to this gentleman to discuss and share with us what embedded insurance is for them, and also what their companies are doing in this space. Why don't we start with you, Andrew?
Oh, okay. All right, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. My name is Andrew Yeo. I'm the CEO of Income Insurance Limited. We are one of the largest composite insurer in Singapore and the largest general insurer in Singapore. So for us in Income, we embarked on our embedded finance journey about maybe two years ago, right, when we actually started out our InsurTech capabilities, not just in Singapore but also abroad. And for us, the meaning of embedded finance basically means how do we, as an FI, like an insurer, provide our products and services in a very seamless and integrated manner to our customers that's within the lifestyle so that they do not feel the burden or the effect, the so-called the drag of buying insurance, right, which is actually not something that every one of us wake up in the morning, going after it, right? And the journey actually should be embedded within the digital ecosystem platforms that is now so integral part of the consumer's lifestyle. So that way, the provision of insurance is actually invisible. But at the same point in time, as customers go through their daily lifestyle, their day-to-day activities, they actually get to get themselves covered, be it in life, health, or is it even in investments. So that's our thinking.
Go for it, Rob.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rob Schimek. I'm the CEO of bolttech. If you don't know us, real quick, we are Singapore's only unicorn insurtech. And I'm headquartered right here in Singapore, have lived here for the last 4.5 years. Earlier this week, we were the Asia Insurance Awards InsurTech of the Year. And so we're very proud of that. And very proud to have the opportunity to be here at the Singapore Fintech Festival. What bolttech does is we are a high-growth international insurtech operating on 3 continents, North America, Europe, and Asia. And we really are all about providing the connection between the ultimate consumer and the insurance provider. And at the center of what we do is what we refer to as an insurance exchange. Works like a stock exchange or a marketplace, but we have created technology that in the last 12 months has quoted $50 billion of premium on behalf of customers who want insurance and insurance carriers who want to provide that insurance. Now, we definitely play a big role in the embedded insurance space. That's a very important part of what we do, but we don't define our view of embedded insurance in a very limited way. We start with embedded insurance, but we believe that the story is much bigger than simple embedded insurance, where it's a simple user journey, a single insurance carrier, a single product, but we believe in a much bigger use case, which is one where this marketplace or this insurance exchange that I referred to earlier comes into play. We can help a customer graduate from insuring a low-ticket item to a high-ticket item, being an ecosystem partner to everyone, whether you're an insurance carrier or whether you're a distribution partner. That's what we do.
Well, thanks. Hi, everyone. Good to be together with you today. My name is Solmaz. I'm a managing director with Prudential and in charge of some Southeast Asian countries and India, Africa, and on top, digital and technology at Prudential. Now, the question is about what is embedded insurance. So for me, let me start with what it is not. I think embedded insurance is not hidden insurance. I think it needs to be embedded in a journey, an originating journey, and that needs to make sense to be complemented to it, and this is why it's called embedded. It lies in a soft bed, kind of, right? So it needs to be really nice and cozy, the product that you want to bring with it. So that also entails for me that needs to be transparent, right? It needs to be there, the customer needs to know it, and needs to be making sense of it in terms of being embedded in the originating journey. So that's how I would define embedded insurance somewhere.
Great, thanks. Varun?
Hi, I'm Varun. I run digital for Singlife. We are the first digital insurer to get a license in Singapore in the last 40 years. We merged with a traditional insurer, and now we're fortunate to have the largest number of licenses for any insurer in Singapore. And for us, embedded has two different contexts. One, from a pure digital context in terms of embedding contextual journeys in people's lifestyle, what they are doing, bringing products and capabilities to what they want to do. And the second part of embedded for us is also to look at it from a human advisor side, because we believe that there are some products which will be beyond our shelf. How do we embed those products which are beyond our shelf with embedding human advice to bring all of those capabilities to a customer, where a customer has a single touch point, whether it's digital or human, to bring the best of what the industry can provide to the customer. So we have, I would say, a broader holistic lens to what an embedded offering to a customer would look like.
Great. So we're gonna have a bit of a debate because we were having this at the prep call, but again it appeared as we were backstage. So embedded insurance, we all use it. You know, you buy a phone, you get your insurance straight away. You buy a flight and you go, yeah, good idea, I'll buy travel insurance. And I was just at the Cover Genius product workshop, and it was packed. And obviously what they do is that they ensure that they help you understand transaction data so you can provide insurance at point of need. And by doing this, you have, as we're, a lot of fintechs, there's a lot of platforms being built, and everybody's interested in trying to monetize the data that you have from your customers, but also getting platform fees, right? So this is why it's also very important and very interesting as you're looking at your revenue models for your fintech or your platform. However, having said that, one example that was just given was I just bought a puppy, first time, and Lazada could have understood very well that I was buying pet food, dog food, and offered me an insurance. And I probably would have gone, what a great idea. I don't have insurance. I'm going to buy insurance. However, that didn't happen. And when I went to look for insurance for my puppy, I asked friends in Singapore who have dogs, and everybody said we didn't buy insurance because for the coverage and the cost, it was really not worth it. So for those who live in Singapore, and I think there's a lot of people agreeing as well that have dogs. So that would have been a mistake because the coverage that I would have expected would not have been there. So we discussed this at length as well. In some instances, you have to be also careful with the coverage that you're providing. You have to measure, you have to look at the type of claims to ensure that you're actually giving the right insurance to customers. But let's hear from your opinions, because I think you have been building and changing things because of this, right, Varun?
So you mentioned pet insurance. It's a very interesting segment per se. During COVID, what happened was a lot of people imported a lot of exotic dogs and cats. And when you look at pricing the risk for those new exotic breeds which lived in air conditioning for 2 years, and now the world opens, it opens up a lot of unique edge cases to price it. And to price that from that perspective, that goes back to your question to that. The premise is, to all of these scenarios, the question is, as long as there is enough target addressable market to create a sustainable proposition. A lot of embedded finance products are hook products or called loss leader product or low friction products, because the objective is that the fact that Pauline can afford a pet in an expensive country like Singapore means she is in a certain income segment, which creates her as a potential target for certain those products. So let's get her a pet insurance product for other stuff. So the key question is, are we looking at that as an on its own self proposition, or that's a gate opener for something else down the road?
Yeah, thanks. And let me add to that. Now, I think we need to differentiate a bit on types of insurance. For commoditized property casualty lines, it's a bit of a different world than, for example, the business that I'm in life insurance and health insurance. We do use embedded insurance with our digital partners, for example, the one in Thailand or OVO in Indonesia, to blend into the journey's micro savings or mini health products. Does it make a big chunk of our annual premium income? No, it's very, very little. Because our customers, on the bigger ticket items where you think about your legacy, your bigger savings products, which you have for 20, 30 years, the physical, the human touch is still important. The advice component is important. So for us, embedded insurance at the moment is a lead generator. The function or the question whether this might evolve in the next phases, and I think we're just getting started with embedded insurance, will evolve into something more meaningful in terms of value generation for us as a business, hinges, from my perspective, on the digital-human interplay, whether we can, for example, take leads or higher value products and link that with our physical agency forces. I think this is where real value lies in us for us into the future. And that, again, depends on whether we can utilize the data that we get from those platforms with which we embed ourselves. And this is, for me, some parameters that we need to look around for. Now, when it comes to the future embedded insurance, I think it creates a platform for a lot more creativity for new products. When you think about the fact that it should be embedded, i.e. makes sense in the context of the original journey, be it a shopping journey. The pet example is a wonderful one because that makes sense. You buy a pet, you probably need pet insurance. But there's so much transactions out there on e-commerce. What other new products could we build? Data today allows us to create new products, segmentize our customers better, and then build products that are not existing yet. So I think it is an opportunity for creativity. From today's standpoint, I think we're just learning how to get this into the life insurance business.
No, fantastic. A great example of that was I went to Kyrgyzstan hiking, and I had to search very hard for an insurance that could cover me above 5,000 meters. So when I bought my ticket, it would have been great to have that offer. I'm going to come back to you, Rob. But Andrew, you have both sides of the platform, right? Because you're creating, you have your in Singapore the products, but you're also creating the platform. Outside of Singapore, in Singapore and outside of Singapore. What's your view in terms of that revenue that's being created and the lead generation and also the new products that you're able to create?
Yeah, so before I touch on the revenue, please, probably just back to your earlier point to address your question. I think a differentiation I want to actually nuance between embedded finance and aggregator, right? So embedded finance doesn't mean that we play the aggregation game, because I think we all know where the aggregation game will go to, right? It's a race down to the bottom. So most insurers, I think, do not want to play in the aggregation game, definitely not ourselves, right? So I think we have to be very nuanced to understand that when we talk about embedded finance, it's not about finding the cheapest product, right, at the best price and whatsoever, right? It's really about how we use embedded finance to provide the relevant proposition at the right time, at the right proposition for the customers, together with our partners, right, in order for them to actually enhance their proposition, overall proposition to their customers, right? Because most of the digital ecosystem players that we partner with are not insurance players, but they want insurance to open their overall product shelf to actually enhance their proposition. So that's where we can actually work together with them, together with their data, to actually give us insights as to what are the problem statements that the customers are facing, what would be relevant to them. And then to Solmaz's point, right, from those insights, we can then design new risk products for them, right, at the right pricing for them. But that's why I want to take this opportunity to clarify. The embedded finance, the digital journey, is not about being an aggregator, right? Because there's already a race to the bottom. So I think for us, we have our launch our new brand called Hive, which actually is the umbrella brand that holds all our various digital innovations like Snack, Tribe, usage-based, Droplet, PinFair, and stuff like that. And with that, we actually go out to the region beyond Singapore as a digital attacker, InsurTech digital attacker, working out with local digital ecosystem players. And our premise is that local players actually would know their customers better, and thereby enable us to actually work together with them to build that distribution network, continue to build that distribution network, and enhance the product proposition, like I mentioned earlier on, to the respective client segments. Yeah, I would say that it's still early days. We are still in an investment stage, right? Still work in progress. Largely working with our partners to find out what are the pain points. So we have rolled out various propositions across different countries in Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, as well as Thailand. So it's still very early days to actually talk about revenues because it is still at the investment stage. But just to add on our belief in terms of embedded finance, I think similar to Solmaz's point, embedded finance alone, I think, will not be able to stand on its own. Right? It actually could be combined together with the omni-channel platform, right, to provide an omni-channel experience, where the embedded finance leveraging on digital ecosystem actually does the quick acquisition, the frictionless products, the simple products. However, by combining our knowledge, by combining our know-how and data, we are actually able to then nurture that journey and move the customers up the value chain. Because what we've discovered is that at a certain price point and complexity, customers do not want to go digital anymore. They want to go offline. So how are we able to then stitch up the entire journey, online, offline, keep it circular, right? But at the same point in time, keeping it circular, but at the same point in time, we will then be able to have a better insight, a better understanding of the customer, and thereby providing the right proposition at the right time, at the right price point for them. I think this is the thing that we are working on, rather than being too focused and too myopic onto the revenue point.
Yeah, perfect. I will come to that when we get to truth or myth, who wants the customer and who wants the data. So Rob, the example you gave earlier on the phone backstage was really interesting because, again, it shows that insurable life events are actually providing the coverage at point of need.
That's right. So bolttech is one of the region's largest providers of what we call device protection. We protect your cell phone. And we'll do that with a telco, or we'll do that with the device manufacturer themselves. And you can understand how at the point of need, when you're buying that device, there's a life event that is a logical time for a customer to say, knowingly, I would like to protect that phone. As a matter of fact, in many countries, that is the most important thing in an individual's everyday life. And we can help to provide that protection. And as a matter of fact, we all have a responsibility to provide that protection. There is a huge gap in the protection that's being offered to people, and we can help to provide that, but we all have to understand that it has to be at the point of need for the customer, with a product that the customer needs, that a product that will respond if you have an event that requires a claim in the first place. And so we love to use as our initial hero product, as we refer to it, device protection. But that product on its own is a winning product for the customer who got great protection, for the telco who wants to keep their customer and not let their customer go to some other telco to get this protection. And it's a great answer for us. So we are able to make a living on this in an effective way. But it's the beginning of the journey for us, not the end of the journey. Many stop at this very simplistic notion of embedded insurance. And I love the comment that my co-panelists made. This is an evolving space. And so the truth of the matter is, yeah, device protection, protecting your cell phone might be the first thing we do. It will likely not be the last thing we do with you. But that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
Fantastic. And I've never seen so many questions coming in ever. There's loads. So let's go very quickly through some of the myth and truth that we discussed, because they do address some of this. So let's start with you, Varun. Embedded insurance entails giving up on the customer relationship. Truth or myth?
Depends on how you manage the servicing side of the things, because some of the channel partners want to control the end-to-end experience, and they want to, what Andrew mentioned, they want to become an aggregator, and they want to convert what an insurance carrier would be to a dump pipe.
Yep.
However, there are some distribution partners who want to co-create journeys to build it together, so that there are parts which a distribution partner, let's in the e-commerce company or telco could be a right partner at the right point of sale, but the rest of the life cycle journey, the servicing and the follow-ups and the expansion of that can be handled by the insurer. So I believe it depends on your partner. There are people who would want to go to a pure, like a dumb black box solution, and the players who want to co-create for something which is meaningful, sustainable for everybody. So we'll personally prefer this latter. But yes, there are scenarios where some people may prefer the first one.
There's a bit of truth, there's a bit of myth.
Depends on who is your partner. You may be dancing between truth and myth depending on the partner you are having the dinner that day.
Myth, clearly.
Yeah.
We are keen to keep the relationship and the data with us. The same goes true for any other aspect of the relationship. We have been around for 174 years. Next year we're celebrating 175 years. And we stand for quality as Prudential. And the customer recognizes us. And we want that relationship, not only in order to understand the customer better in terms of data, so we can offer a holistic journey, and not only out of egoism, but we do fundamentally believe that the customer wants it. This is our core belief, and this is upon which we act. This is why I fundamentally believe it's not true at all.
Yeah. Thank you.
It is a myth. For sure, it's a myth. But from our perspective, it is absolutely a way for the company that the customer trusts, in the example I've used, the telco, to make a deeper relationship with the customer, to protect that customer, and to actually own a broader relationship with that customer. And it is also an opportunity for us, as the provider of that service, to stand out on our own. We either respond when that customer needs our help or we don't. And we like to measure how fast we do that. We like to measure how frequently we do that. And our partners, the telcos as examples, they hold us accountable to that. And so that is a myth.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so similarly, I think in all life's question, it's always a yes and no. But I'm standing definitely towards the no. It doesn't mean that the insurers will lose the relationship with their customers. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the moment that matters to any insurance or insurer is the moment when they claim. Right? I think in moments of claims, that's where the insurer comes into play. And I think that's also where you actually build the biggest trust, right, by paying that claim. And we have also experienced that in our own platform as well as our partnerships with our strategic partners, that whenever we pay out a claim, you can see a jump in user adoption, right, and new users coming onto the platform. So I think it is not a case where if we work with a digital ecosystem partner and we do embedded finance, that we lose that relationship with the customers. Because ultimately, I think at the end of the day, most digital ecosystem partners will also realize that when it comes to servicing of insurance products, it is best left to the insurer. Right? So I think it is important to find like-minded partners in creating that whole journey, who takes care of which part of that journey. Right? Acquisition is definitely in terms of the ecosystem partner, because that's where they start the point of entry, they start the point of journey. But as they procure different products and services, especially for insurance, the servicing piece, the claims piece, the premium collection piece, that's where the insurers actually have the relationship with the customers. But what's more important, just want to go back to my earlier point, is when the two entities put their know-hows together and co-create, co-analyze the data that they have and create the insights, that's where we will continue to then create new products and propositions for the customers. And that's where both parties actually will continue to have their relationship with the customers.
Excellent. Solmaz, I'll start with you because you have quite a variety of countries that you're in and also different types of market share. Embedded insurance dilutes the value of the brand.
I alluded to that a bit. Absolutely not. And we would not want that in the first place. So we would not enter into partnerships where our brand would not be recognizable by the customer. As Andrew rightly alluded, the customer wants to see who is going to provide the claim. The originating embedor or the originating journey will not be taking the risk. The risk will be staying with the insurer, with us, and we are going to having to service in the best way possible. And for that, the customer, and by the way, the regulator will have a perspective on that as well, will want to know who's going to pay. If the customer doesn't even know he has insurance, or she, this is why I alluded to the hidden insurance. It shouldn't be a hidden insurance. We see sometimes in the so-called embedded insurances, I think the terminology is sometimes not clear, that the customer even doesn't know that she or he just bought insurance. And then it does not really matter because it's basically hidden and it's not a thing that we would want to do. So if done well, it's really a win-win for the partnership. And then you share data, you generate the insights in your products, as Andrew rightly said. And then the customer wants to know who are the two partners. And in the best case, the two partners gel very well together. They have a very clear understanding up front who has access to what data, what's going to be the starting product, what could be follow-on products, what's the analytics to run, does it fit the regulator's perspective on data privacy and all of these things? And then the brands win both of them. So embedded insurance should not be brand dilutive at all.
You had a great example in the US as well that relates about that brand.
Yeah, I completely agree with the comments that were just made. Without a doubt, that would be a myth. This is not something that hurts the brand. The regulators around the world do a very good job of making sure that if you buy a protection product, you understand who sold you that protection product. And as long as it's not hidden and it's known as exactly as we've said on this panel, it's very clear. We have a great partner in the United States, which is Progressive Insurance. Progressive advertises for both automobile insurance and homeowners insurance. But generally speaking, the homeowners side of that experience is coming from bolttech. And when you get your homeowner's quote, you might get a quote from multiple different homeowner providers of insurance, but you know exactly who quoted you. And if you select them, you know exactly who's handling your claim and who's responsible for that. And you have the choice. That improves the relationship that Progressive has with their customer and helps their brand. And every insurance carrier who's providing protection in that relationship, it's very clear who they are, and it helps their brand too, being associated with such a great journey and such a great distribution partner. This is a win-win.
If I may offer another analogy, I think embedded finance is no different from any channels that we are working with, whether it's agency or partnership, banker, right? These are all partnerships that we have. And by partnering with them, they will front the customers, right? But then it doesn't mean that we erode our brand. Because even if you work with agencies, right, whether it's tight or untight, or even a banker or financial advisors, they will actually hold a relationship with the customers. Right? But however, when they put forth their insurance proposition, it is with the knowledge to get the customer as well, that it is backed by income, backed by Prudential, Life, or whoever. Right? So the brand doesn't get eroded away. So we should look at embedded finance as though it's another channel, right, that is actually doing what they do in terms of customer acquisition, providing the relevant proposition, and insurance is just one part of that. So it's no different from another channel.
So we have a lot of really good questions, and I'm very mindful of time. So we'll give the opportunity to the audience. So there's a few interesting ones. We'll start just to your point as well, talking about the customer. Given that the customer did not set out to purchase insurance, how do you educate a customer about insurance during that embedded experience?
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier on, most of us will not wake up in the morning saying that I want to go buy a life insurance or any other insurance, unless it's mandated by the regulator, right? Motor insurance is one of them. But I guess it's part of the whole nurturing of the journey of that digital ecosystem. Right? Definitely when they embark on that journey, it is not for insurance. It is for other purposes. And how we actually embed ourselves into it is, I think, like for example, the snack proposition that we have, right? You can actually tag the purchase of insurance to your day-to-day lifestyle as you're buying coffee, you're swiping your credit card, you're walking your 5,000 steps every day, you're taking the MRT with the EasyLink card. Through that, actually, you participate in insurance. I think when we lower the barrier of entry, right, where we then get our customers the opportunity to participate in insurance, that's where, on a day-to-day basis, they get to experience our products and services, and thereby allowing us to then slowly, gradually nurture that journey, right, in which they also get a chance to participate at a micro level, right, in terms of what insurance is, and then subsequently gaining confidence, gaining knowledge, and thereby moving up the value curve. But again, like I mentioned, when you move up the value curve at a certain price point of cost as well as complexity, they may want to take the journey offline. So how do we provide the omni-channel experience for them to take the journey offline and back online again? But capturing the data such that we know the customer 360, right, or holistically, to be able to continue to then nurture and provide the right propositions for them.
Also, the important part is to know where the customer has the need, the desire, and the aspiration. Because a lot of times it's important to define which segment are they fitting in it. There are times when they desire something and to offer that this is the way your desire will be protected from any eventuality. So to tie to which of those parts you tie is very important, because as rest of the guys, nobody wakes up, but when you're buying this phone, you want to protect that $1,400 new phone from slippage and context.
So it's not like going to IKEA, you go for one thing and come out with a basket of things. So I'm going to combine two questions, also very mindful of time. And he talks about the future, because Rob, you talked about the next chapter as well. So one is, so one is what's going to happen to brokers as we're really embedding the experience of buying insurance through platforms, and combined with more complex policies. What do we see in digital insurance? Things like critical illness, wealth accumulation. So the future in terms of who's providing us the insurance, but also the more complex products.
Well, let me then start off with a more complex products question. Yeah. I do believe there's a real case from becoming better and embedding topics to higher value items if the journey is clear for both partners from the get-go. You need to be able to design journeys with which the online to offline handoffs are seamless. And I think more complex products, especially in the life insurance space, need some human touch. Most customers want to have someone who can show empathy for the situation when they want to take care about their legacy, about the education of the children, etc., etc. It can be embedded as well into a more simple product starting journey within the embedded partnership. But then the seamlessness of roping in agents, financial advisors, can be pre-designed. I think that should be the way forward. And then we can create more value for the partnership, but then also for the customer. When it comes to the other question just now in terms of how to do in online terms, when you're embedded into online e-commerce sales, it's really a challenge. The bedding is UX and UI. How do you want to transport the benefit? You need to put it really clear, the benefit, and this is where the product to original journey match is so important. I think this is if partners want to be successful in embedded insurance, they need to design this whole thing up front before signing the agreement.
Fantastic.
I'll say
Yeah.
that I think the broker is very much alive, and the broker will continue to be very much alive in the future model. And they need to be, because you can't simply have just anyone selling insurance that actually isn't permitted to sell insurance. The regulators require that. That's not unique in this country. That's true elsewhere. So you have to work with someone who actually has a license to do this in the first place. So that's why we are an insurtech. We are a licensed broker in the countries that we operate in, and we bring insurance expertise and technology to create an insurtech. You're not an insurtech if you're just tech, and you're not an insurtech if you're just insurance. You do need to have the two of those. So from our perspective, I agree. There can be online, offline experiences. We think it's a myth, by the way, that all these experiences become completely digital and they're just online end-to-end. It's an offline to online experience or an online to offline when you need to speak to a human being. But someone has to really understand insurance, understand the product, and understand the customer need. And that, I think, is a role that the brokers play very well, and I think they'll be around for a long, long time.
Fantastic. I think we need to wrap up, but
if I may address this question on digital insurance for more complex policies, I'm actually not seeing we are doing it already. We actually embed critical illness within the digital ecosystem partner that we are working with, and it's embedded within the ride-hailing platform. And each time the gig worker, the ride-hailing driver, completes a ride, a portion of what he determines goes into buying critical illness. And through every ride he completes, he actually accumulates critical illness insurance. So that is the digital onboarding process. But subsequently to that, when we pay out certain claims and they really believe in this product, they want to buy more, they want to see more. And that's where we need to move beyond digital, right, into advisory. So that's how I keep mentioning that digital embedded finance needs to be coupled with the omni-channel experience so as to be able to actually fulfill the entire financial planning, comprehensive financial planning for the customers. But it is the challenge for FIs like ourselves. How do you actually build embedded finance together with omni-channel experience, right, to actually enable the online-offline journey for the different products and different needs that a customer would be looking for, because every one of us is unique. Our needs are all different, right? So that's where the advisory comes into play. Yeah. So that's how I think those two got to come into the combination on the
usually
partnership.
take a simple benchmark that if it's less than 3 years, it's more likely to be done digitally. If the commitment of that is more than 3 to 5 years, then you need somebody with empathy to talk through that.
Yeah.
sub 3 to 5 years is the easiest one to be done digitally.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Thank you to the audience. You sent so many questions, something that you will find interesting. And I think especially because of your background, there's a lot of IAG, Allianz, and so on. There were questions about how did you start your digital journeys and how do you get incumbents to move forward. So thank you for all of your questions, and thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.